Okay, so I'm going to follow on a little bit more from what Nikki said, I think, when she was talking about the Sustainability Transformation Plan. One of the things that struck me, and hands up, I was part of the team that helped put some of that together, looking at the workforce issues, was that when you look at the plan itself, and we talk a lot in healthcare about holistic care, which is around the physical, the psychological, the mental and the social aspects of care, the one thing that's missing in the Sustainability Transformation Plan is about spiritual care needs when people have got health needs, and you know, they're right up there. So I suppose represent that within the hospitals. I didn't introduce myself. I'm David Knight. I'm the lead hospital chaplain for United Lincolnshire Hospitals Trust, but I've also got 30 years plus experience as a nurse working with the health system as well, so I know the system reasonably well. And David's not going out of this lightly as well, because he's also a hospital chaplain. So, so what I wanted to talk about was a little bit about chaplaincy and how chaplaincy in hospitals worked, and also around volunteering within health services and how important that is within the context. Because I thought when I read sort of the background to what we were trying to achieve this afternoon, it was around what churches might do, given all the information that you've had. So how might churches be more involved around the health system? Chaplaincy in Lincolnshire, chaplaincy in the hospitals in Lincolnshire within the United Lincolnshire Hospitals is based on the hospital sites, not surprisingly, at Lincoln, Boston, Grantham and at Louth. And we're also looking at provision across other community hospitals in Spalding, Skegness, Gainsborough, and have I forgotten one? That's it as well. And within the Lincolnshire Partnership Trust, the Mental Health Trust, they also have a chaplaincy service that operates, but it's mainly based around Lincoln currently. So we do have a range of hospital chaplains. Not as many as I'd like. We'd like much larger teams, but we are in economically challenging times. So it's important that when we have people within the health system, actually they're with us when the health system only a part of the time, they're still part of their wider community. So it's important that faith-based communities are interacting with us, with the health service, with the chaplaincy team, so that we can help support the person when they come into hospital, but upon discharge as well, we're able to hand that care back as well. So it's an integrated service. We are trying to develop the number of chaplains that we have operating within the hospitals currently, and we do periodically recruit. So if you know people who are interested in ministering within hospitals, then I'm always interested to hear about that as well. But outside of that, what we're trying to develop is a network of people from faith communities who are in good standing with their communities, who come in as volunteer chaplains and support the work, really as our eyes and ears within the wards, because what we don't know, we only get people referred to us with spiritual needs, either because their local communities have identified them, the person's made their needs made clear to the staff on the ward and they contact us, or relatives contact us. What we're not able to do, because we're a very limited resource, is to actually be out on the wards, be as visible as maybe we'd like. We're a bit too reactive at the moment. So I would appeal to churches in particular to identify people who might be interested in that type of role within the hospital. Wider than that, in terms of volunteering, health services do rely on volunteers and have done for a long tradition of this. I was at an awards ceremony where we were recognising long service just last week, and we had volunteers who've done over 30 years worth of volunteering service within the health service. They really are an important part of the services that we're providing and are able to provide, adding a quality element which goes over and above what we're able to fund. But this isn't about care on the cheap. This is actually, these are real roles within the hospitals that support the services that we're able to offer. So again, the hospitals, if any of you have been in the Lincolnshire hospitals recently, most of our volunteers wear bright yellow t-shirts. You'll see them all over the place. They really are an integral part of the staff team, and very valued as part of that. So again, this is another way that churches can help support health services, is by contacting voluntary services departments and seeing how they can support those roles across the different healthcare system. Bringing it back to the way that health services are developing, as Nikki said, in her presentation, care is moving out of the hospitals. Hospitals aren't, they're a necessary part of the health system, but we're trying to get more care back out in the community. So we also need to be looking at how we integrate within those neighbourhood teams, within local health systems outside of hospitals as well. So there's a great opportunity there, I think, as well, to start supporting the spiritual needs of people within that health system outside of the hospital. I'm aware, say, that I was over and on my time. A couple of things that Nicola referred to, which she'd asked me to cover, because my background was in mental health. She talked about mental health services and how they are developing as part of the Sustainability Transformation Plan. The two main focuses have been, for a long time, anybody that knows anything about mental health in Lincolnshire, we've had a lot of people who have had to be treated outside of the county, and the idea within the STP, the Sustainability Transformation Plan, is to get more of those people back within our county so that they're able to be part of the community instead of being sent out of area, sometimes great distances, where they're in the most difficult and distressful stage of their illness. So that's a major focus of the STP. And the other part of it is around how mental health services play into those wider community neighbourhood teams as well. So it's not just around physical care, it is around physical care and mental health care. So you'll see that there are teams that are springing up across the county which will have physical health care, CPNs, community psychiatric nurses, psychiatrists, all dealing with a person with complex needs in their own environment. So those are the two main focuses around mental health. And the final thing was just, again, we mentioned about the National Institute for Oral Health. The background to this was something that we recognised. It was a workforce issue. People weren't coming to work in the health services in Lincoln with specialist skills, mainly medics to begin with, but it's across a range of professions now. So what we wanted to do was look at actually what makes Lincolnshire unique, not what's the problem with Lincolnshire, but what makes us unique. And we recognised that actually there isn't an expertise in working in rural medicine and rural healthcare. So this is about developing the evidence to say actually we're offering something that nowhere else can do. So it's about real qualifications for staff when they come to work here, making it a specialism and making it a really attractive area to live. I think we're sort of comparable with Northumberland and parts of Cornwall, and they're about the only other places in the country which are similar to us. Northumberland is probably next to us. So that's all I had to say. We have run over. If you've got any questions for the three of us, have we got time to take them? Yeah. But you don't have to ask them. No.
Lovely. Thanks, David.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.